We need to make sure we're paying attention to the families that were torn up in this.
Well, good morning, and thank you for joining us here on Good Morning San Antonio at 9. And today marks 1 month since the devastating Hill Country floods.
Yeah, hard to believe it's been a month since that catastrophic incident. As we continue to remember those who lost their lives, we are also seeing what it looks like in the Hill Country this morning as they continue to take steps to rebuild.
And that brings us to our team coverage this morning. So our Devin Karp is in Ingram and our Ernie Zuniga is in Kerrville, but we're going to go ahead and start with Devin. Good morning, Devin.
Hey, good morning. Yeah, I'm right over here in Ingram, near Lake Ingram, taking a look at all the damage. When the water was at its highest, it was well above my head over here. This is what it's left behind. Some of the devastation with concrete, rubble, pieces of metal, cars, engines, boats, you name it, the debris is out here. It has residents worried, but they're also worried about the stuff you can't see, what's hiding under the water here. They say that can have a big impact to the Ingram Lake here because of how important this is for their area, not just for an environmental reason, not just for an economic reason, but for a cultural reason as well. So I was able to speak with some neighbors in the area who were able to tell me of some of the stuff that they have seen out here, which including first responders who have been going down and using sonar technology to scan the bottom of the Ingram Lake to see if they can find any of the missing people. Those first responders then told neighbors they have seen at least 3 cars, RVs, engines, things trash polluting at the bottom of the lake. And now these neighbors want to see the lake drained so crews can recover any of the bodies that might still be down there and remove the trash, because this lake is a big source of tourism, recreation, and enjoyment, not just for the people who already live here, but for those who come to town to visit.
That's where they had, see that big thing of bubbles out there? That's where they had hung up on something when they were scanning. And that huge boil of bubbles came up.
Now, in the past at Kerr County Commissioners meetings, Kerr County Judge Rob Kelly and some of the other commissioners there did say they had a plan for draining the lakes and supported the idea of doing so. But they did warn that it would not be without its obstacles. It is very costly and time-consuming to do so, not to mention working with multiple regulatory agencies to get confirmation and approval to do so, all while thinking about the endangered mussel species that lives along the Guadalupe River. After speaking with some of those neighbors, they tell me they're going to be working with a coalition of local businesses here to meet and try to discuss what's going on their lake and ask for that accountability from their local governments. That's something we've asked about as well and are still waiting to hear back on. I'm going to go ahead and now toss it over to Ernie Zuniga, who is over just down the river here in Kerrville, talking with people about recovery efforts there and how they're working to memorialize those families. Ernie, good morning.
Devin, good morning to you. So earlier this morning, we were in Kerrville on one of the streets there where a family had lost 3 family members, and we were honoring all of them. But this is a little bit of a different story here because we're reuniting with some of the amazing people that we met a month ago when we were here in Kerrville. So I want to draw your attention first across the river. We are on C Street here in Kerrville, and across the way there are mangled porta potties and all kinds of debris still. It almost looks like it hasn't even been touched in the last month, which may actually be the case because there is just so much work to be done. But on this side of the river, this is where Wayne Donaghy lives, and as a matter of fact, Wayne is just off camera right now. He had to jump on a meeting at 9 o'clock. He's spinning plates right now and doing all kinds of different things. But we talked to him a month ago. He was the very first person in line when I met him at the Baptist Church here in Kerrville, waiting in line to sign up for assistance from FEMA. And I just finished talking to him. I just interviewed him here just moments ago and kind of getting an update on what's happened. And he right away said FEMA's been great. It's a long, thorough process, but he has so far received everything that he needs. His wife, you may recall, had fallen in the evacuation process on the 4th of July and broken her shoulder. And just this week, she's getting out of rehab and on the road to recovery. And the little dog Sassy is with his wife right now. They are actually living at a bed and breakfast in Lukenbach, Texas, which was graciously donated to them free of charge. so that Wayne could commute back and forth to come here. And inside the house right now, there is sheetrock and insulation and signs that the water damage is gone, but that the repairs will continue. Wayne says this is a home that has been in his wife's family for many, many decades. When I asked him the other day if he had any hesitation about rebuilding or anything like that, it was immediate. He absolutely was going to stay here. You might remember my colleague Sarah Acosta was in here as well talking to him right after the flood, and he has remained steadfast in the fact that he will rebuild, he will stay, and this is all on God's time. Those are his words. And so we are certainly going to continue to stay in touch with Wayne and continue to follow his progress. And he's invited us back when the house is ready to entertain and have guests. We'll come back here and reminisce about all of this. But really, you can't live much closer to the Guadalupe River than Wayne does. But the house had pretty good bones, as you can see. Structurally, it is sound and still standing. Just got a lot of work on the inside to do. So we'll continue to keep an eye on him and his family and have more in the coming days, weeks, and months right here on KSAT 12. For now, that is the scene from the Guadalupe River. I'm Ernie Zuniga, KSAT 12 News.
Thank you, Ernie. We do remember Wayne. His wife was recovering. She was hurt. And then also, he was the first one in line for FEMA assistance.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, definitely a lot of those stories coming out of the Hill Country over the past month. A quick check of live cam here. And Justin, got a little bit of rain in the Hill Country over the weekend. Maybe some rain here today.
Possible. It's possible, and here's why. We're watching, as I've been saying all morning, what's going on to our north. It started way up in North Texas, but it's made some good time moving south. And let me show you the authority radar. We can pick it up on our authority radar now. And you'll notice out towards College Station in Navasota, they have a severe thunderstorm warning. With these southward moving complexes, sometimes you can get some of these stronger storms. Now, that's obviously well east of us. We're kind of on the weaker side of things. There is an outflow boundary here, though. And as that shifts south, we could see initially some activity here in Blanco and Gillespie County. But if it holds together, we could see some storms a little bit later this morning and during the early afternoon hours here in San Antonio. So that's what we'll be watching. Let me show you one of our computer models. And look, these haven't been great, but it kind of gets the general idea across that by noontime, it dies out that initial line of storms, but brings in some more energy from the north by 2-3 o'clock this afternoon. And then most of that would push south by 5-6 o'clock. I think coverage will be sparse today. We're talking 20 to 30%. But as I said, there could be a strong storm or two mixed in there. It's something we'll watch. If we can get some clouds and a little bit of rain, that should keep us below 100. We shall see. We're at 80 right now. Forecast to be up around 99. And then just know that tomorrow will be a much quieter day. Again, we're keeping an eye on those storms to our north. We'll have an update for you here in just a couple minutes, guys.
All right, thank you very much for that, Justin. Quick check of our roads here. 90 at Zarzamora. Earlier, we had a pretty big crash that shut down a few lanes there. 10 at West Avenue. Traffic is looking pretty good. So no major issues for our drivers locally across town on this Monday morning. All right, let's give you an update on everything going on in the Texas Hill Country. We do want to update our folks specifically along these couple of routes here. So FM 1340 and State Highway 39, you see those in the middle of your screen. Those basically took the brunt of some of that devastation that we saw there along the Guadalupe River. So both those roads will remain closed for the next few weeks or so. We were trying to check in with Ingram ISD and Hunt ISD as they get set for the start of school, but it looks like those two roads will stay closed. Now, first responders, residents continue to have access to both of them, but again, to the general public, it is closed. Now let's get you an update on the situation in the Kerrville area where repairs are underway. Several other state roadways, including FM 1350. That's actually in Center Point. That one has since been reopened. State Loop 98, that one has been reopened. FM 394 over by the Lima Street Bridge. That has since been reopened as well. But TxDOT continuing to do their focus on recovery efforts. I think we have some video as well of some of the damage that we saw there over the past month or so. This was one of the videos that was pretty popular out here, and it included that metal guardrail that got completely twisted and turned around. And again, a lot of those roadways still under some major repair. You see right there the Guadalupe River sign. That was the Lima Street Bridge, and we will continue to update all of our folks as we check out the rest of the roads in the Hill Country.
Well, as we have been reporting, the communities along the Guadalupe River are still dealing with loss after those devastating floods.
And as painful as that loss has been for everyone, a local artist from Hunt is doing what she can to spread a little bit of light during this dark time.
So Callie Stetler is helping in her own way by painting messages of hope.
Nobody could even ever imagine painting bows for a memorial for a precious camp, you know, for precious girls. I would have never imagined that in the middle of July.
Business owners usually call Callie Stetler to paint their windows during the holidays. However, this work is different.
So all the green bows around town and stuff, you know, those are a reminder to pray for the families.
Since the floods on the 4th of July ripped through so many communities,
Fixing to do some words.
Callie has been painting messages of hope on the windows of local businesses.
Rooted in faith, rebuilt in strength. People are just wanting to do anything to spread hope and just a little bit of light, just a little bit of goodness right now. I really think it matters. Hi! It's good to see you. We're putting scripture all over the place.
She's painted windows in Ingram and here in Kerrville.
Business here has just been really intentional about what they're putting on the windows, which has been so great. My job is easy. When I show up, they're like, we want green bows, and we want it to say, when the river rises, so do we.
And this entire area is Callie's community and home. She lives just 9 miles from Camp Mystic.
They are wonderful people and friends that own that camp, and we're just keeping them in our prayers. I can hardly even think or put into words how heartbroken I am about it.
It can take a couple of hours for Callie to complete each window, but she says it is a blessing that she can help in some way.
We just keep putting one foot in front of the other and doing what we can.
Stephanie Cerna, KSAT 12 News. And, you know, Callie was hit hard, of course, by this. You know, this is her community. This is where she lives. She knew, you know, some of the people over there at Camp Mystic.
Yeah.
And, you know, she just tells us that, you know, she's been praying for them. But this is also her way to trying to spread some light, you know, her own way of trying to lift people up. She mentioned to us that she was working, trying to volunteer at the church, trying to sort clothes or food or something. And she was like, she was trying to help, but then, you know, people started reaching out to her, and this, you know, this is what she does. So this came out a little easier. So again, everybody kind of like trying to remember in their own way or pay their respects in their own way.
Absolutely. A great story of inspiration and hope there. She's just trying to spread some of that love out there for her community out there. Yeah, so great story there, Steph.
Oh, thank you. Well, actually, I owe it to photojournalist Luis Cienfuegos. We were out there covering a different story about the food bank, and he had seen her. This was the second time he had seen her out there painting windows, and, you know, he kind of went up to talk to her, and she you know, told us a little bit about, you know, her mission now, and so we're glad we were able to bring it to the viewers as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Good stuff there. And we'll have that story on KSAT.com?
Yes,
as well?
absolutely.
Okay. All right, make sure to check that out there. Time now is at 9:11. We're looking at 80 degrees outside.
The rebuilding continues in Kerrville, very slow but steady process. More on that. Plus, we're talking with small business owners here in the Hill Country. How are they being affected 1 month later, and how much help is coming in? That's coming up.
Well, welcome back. The time now is 9:15, and we continue with our Hill Country coverage 1 month after the devastating floods. Our Ernie Zuniga has been live all morning.
And in case you missed it earlier, Ernie spoke with several Centerpoint businesses and how they are being helped after those devastating floods. Good morning, Ernie.
Guys, good morning to you. We'll get to that here in just a minute, but I wanted to give you a sense of what I'm seeing here, because I was here. Alex Gomez, photojournalist, and I were here a month ago, and we're back. We're at the home of Wayne Donaghy, who quite literally right now is on the phone in the middle of a meeting, I should say, as he continues to get help from FEMA and other agencies, federal, local, and otherwise. Thankfully, he and his family are doing fine. But remember, about a month ago, we were talking about just the scale. The damage, the scope of the damage, how long it would possibly take to clean up something like this. And I just want to draw your attention to this small area right here, because here we are essentially 1 month later. and there are still pieces of a stove, what looks like a part of a refrigerator over there, a kitchen chair, a water hose that's mangled here, not to mention all of the branches. It feels like crews have come through with chainsaws and have cut off the largest pieces of tree or the branches that are sticking out that perhaps would pose a danger. But otherwise, there simply has just been no time to get to all of these kinds of things. So these cleanup efforts, and who knows how much longer it will take. But as you guys alluded to earlier, we're in Kerrville now. But a short time ago, we had a chance to go over to Centerpoint to sit down, have a very informal roundtable discussion with 4 business owners in Centerpoint who have all received money in the last month from Lift Fund, which is a San Antonio-based company that funds small businesses and nonprofits when it comes to disasters and things like this. All of them have received money, and all of them talked to me about their experience and what they're going through 1 month later.
We finally through the mud phase of it, so now it's on the recovery phase, and that's the hard part. We're now seeing the reality of what all we've lost and the financial reality, and a lot of these people or a lot of these funds and grants are saying make a 1-year plan. It's really hard to even plan for the next month, because even though the Lift Fund helped, it probably helped 1/8 of the cost that we're out.
Our community wants to work really hard to rebuild our river and the beauty of our river, because we have lost a lot of trees, and a lot of our beautiful nature around us there's going to be lots of work involved in getting it back up and going.
So again, if you were with us weeks ago when we were here the first time, Lift Fund had helped to secure $1 million worth of funding that was distributed ultimately to many, many small businesses. And I'm told that the maximum amount that any one business could receive was $10,000, which is great. But as these small business owners were saying, it's a drop in the bucket in some cases to what they ultimately need when you're talking about just tens of thousands of dollars or even more in damage. But it's certainly a start, and they are all very appreciative to Lift Fund and that financial aid and that financial assistance. I'll just draw your attention as I close here to across the river. And again, this is in no way a criticism whatsoever, because people are working so hard and they are so sleep deprived, but it appears in some cases that some of these areas have absolutely gone untouched in the last month. You see those mangled porta potties over there and all those tree branches. It just simply has not been possible to get to all these areas. And again, this scene is playing out over and over again on both sides, both directions of the river and everything. So that hopefully that gives you just a very, very small sense into the scale and the scope of this and how much longer it will take, many, many more months, to get this place looking like it once did. So for now, though, that is the situation. We'll come back and have more coming up in just a little while later on this hour. But for now, I'm Ernie Zuniga, KSAT 12 News.
All right, Ernie, thank you. A lot of work to be done out there. I know Ernie was talking to the business owners in Centerpoint, and even those who weren't, their businesses not directly impacted by the flooding. One of the nurseries there, like their actual, I guess, facility was okay, but their irrigation, messed up.
Yeah, I mean, it's a full infrastructure recovery, rebuild out there. We're talking about just the roads, Highway 39, FM 1340. I mean, all of these areas completely washed out, livelihoods, and it's going to take some time for these folks to kind of get back on their feet a little bit more.
It goes back to the power of water. Yeah. It destroyed a lot of things. There's, it's going to be a long cleanup, but we pray for those folks, and I hope that continues to move along. So at any rate, I want to show you guys what's going on across the state of Texas. We have some storms that have been tracking south. So these started way up around the Texas-Oklahoma border, and they've been moving quickly with the flow the way it is. We have high pressure off to our west. You got the flow out of the north, and generally this is a kind of flow that will hold storms together and they'll work their way towards our neck of the woods. And that's what's happening here now. The western extent of this is pretty weak. I'm not seeing a lot of energy there. The stronger storms are on the eastern flank of this, where they have severe thunderstorm warnings. But as this outflow boundary moves into some pretty warm, humid air, we could see some redevelopment here of storms, and it is certainly worth watching. In this kind of flow too, you can sometimes get some stronger storms, some gusty winds, namely, but maybe a little bit of hail too if we were to get some stronger storms. So far, we have not seen that. But these storms will make their way into Fredericksburg. They're just south of Marble Falls now, working towards Wimberley. We will keep an eye on this, because this computer model shows that initial line kind of dying down, but another piece of energy behind that, stirring up some storms perhaps for San Antonio in that 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. range. That's kind of a window I'm zeroing in on. And then by 5, 6 o'clock, this would be out of here. So in theory, maybe we could get this through before it affects the evening commute, but no guarantees. This flow is always kind of tricky. 80 degrees right now in San Antonio. Feels like 86 though. And you got heat indices already jumping into the 90s, if not near 100 in Victoria. So it is going to be a hot, sticky day. The question is, will that lead to storm chances? And I've bumped it up to 30%, roughly 1 to 4 o'clock. That's when, if we're going to see any storms, that's when it would be. It's not for everyone. Along and east of I-35 are where the best odds will reside. If you're west of town, you probably won't see much. And the question, too, is will we get up to 100? We've had 9 days so far this year. We put together a nice little string here. 5 days in a row, mind you. We've been at 100 or above. Today, we'll be close. If that outflow boundary can get here in time, we may not get there. So we may interrupt our streak. But we've got more triple digits on the way. So, you know, we probably will set another streak later this week. Today is our 1 day for rain. 30%, as I said. And then after today, it looks like a pretty quiet weather pattern. Quiet and hot. Granted, early August is our hottest time of the year, climatologically speaking, but we are living up to that now, it looks like, with some hot weather as we get a little bit closer to the first day of school.
Yes, and all the days in a row with the triple digits. Wow.
Brutal. Yeah.
Thanks, Justin.
Yep. All right, thank you very much, Justin. GMSA at 9 will be back after this short break. Welcome back. It is now 9:26. Well, this morning, 2 men are now facing theft charges in connection to the I-35 and Casson Road crash from last month that killed 5 people. 21-year-old Eric Perez and 18-year-old Matthew Espinosa. The two were arrested this past weekend. They're accused of driving a stolen Camaro that ultimately caused that crash. Now, a crash report obtained by KSAT 12 states that the stolen Camaro attempted to weave between a truck and a small bus on the highway before that deadly collision. Records show that both suspects have already posted bond. Right now, it's not known if they will be facing more criminal charges.
Well, we now know the name of a motorcyclist who died after crashing into an SUV. So this happened on July 31st on San Antonio's far west side. 23-year-old Ian Garcia was killed when a driver in an SUV tried to make a left turn. Garcia hit the front of the vehicle. He was then thrown from his bike and died at the scene. The SUV's driver and passenger side had minor injuries, and witnesses said speeding may have played a role here. However, police are still looking into it and no charges have been filed.
All right, we're already off to a warm start on your Monday morning, 80 degrees outside and 9:27 on your Monday morning.
Draining a lake is no easy task, but neighbors in Ingram say it's necessary for the survival of their town into the future. Coming up on GMSA at 9, I take a look at what they're saying and why they say they need action done now.
What's been the hardest part about trying to get yourself back?
I'm grateful to be alive. I'm grateful for you. I came to this window and I looked out and the water was here.
As residents in the Hill Country continue to rebuild after those deadly floods, many have concerns about how the event impacted the local environment.
Specifically when it comes to Ingram Lake. They're worried about the future of their community if that does not change.
Our Devin Karp is live in Ingram right now. Devin.
Hey, yeah, guys, right behind me here, you can see this is the devastation 1 month later, that is still here along the Guadalupe River and Ingram Lake. And if this is what we can see above the surface, neighbors are even more worried for what's under the surface. They say it's important to get this lake behind me drained, not only for the environmental health of their community, but for the culture and economical help they'll need as well. So some of the neighbors here told me they were able to speak with first responder diving teams who use sonar technology to scan the bottom of the lake looking for any of the missing people. Once they were there, they said that there were multiple cars, RVs, motors, engines, debris, trash that is still sitting on the bottom of the lake. It has them worried about what it means for the health of the water and the health of the community. They say that this is a big source of revenue for people to be able to come in and enjoy recreational time in the lakes, not only for the community, but for the out-of-towners as well.
It's definitely going to slow down all the vacation, because there are a lot of people that came down from up north to spend the summers here.
So that we can get through all of this.
In some of the past Kerr County Commissioners meetings, Judge Rob Kelly, along with some of the other Kerr County Commissioners, said that they liked the idea of draining the lake and did say there was a plan in place. But they did say it doesn't come without its challenges. It would be a long and costly endeavor requiring approval from multiple regulatory agencies to do so, not to mention the fact that there is an endangered species of mussels that goes along the Guadalupe River over here. Now, right back here in Ingram, there are a group of neighbors and local business owners who say they're going to be working to make sure that they can get answers from the local government here and hold them accountable. We've asked those questions as well and are still waiting to hear back. For now, I'll send it back over to Ernie, who is just down the road in Kerrville. Ernie, I understand you're talking with some people who have really been through a lot, but are still putting one foot after the other to help their community.
Indeed, Devin, 1 foot in front of the other, one broom in front of the other, whatever it takes. It's just such a slow and arduous process. And then you forget about things like looters. I was just talking to Wayne Donaghy, who owns this house, who's had this house and his wife's family for decades. He told me on top of everything he's had to deal with, there have been people multiple times that have come here looting, and they caught one set of looters the other day. That's a whole other issue. But I had a chance to visit with Wayne. We have met some new friends here in the Hill Country this morning. We've honored lives that were lost earlier at another neighborhood. And now we're reconnecting with Wayne Donaghy, who, if you were with us about 3-4 weeks ago when we were here the first time right after the floodings, he was the very first person in line. And he got there very early at the Baptist Church in Kerrville when FEMA set up a resource assistance center. He was in there for multiple hours signing paperwork and getting the ball rolling on getting some much needed help, because he intends to rebuild this house and he's doing a lot of the work on his own. But he has told me that FEMA, to their credit, has been very good, very communicative. He actually just got off on a virtual meeting a little while ago with regards to trying to get some help for these kinds of things. All of this while his wife and dog are in a bed and breakfast in Lukenbach. He's got a lot on his plate right now, but we had a nice visit a short time ago. Here's some of that.
Quite a bit of help from FEMA, all the different organizations in town, very helpful. Yeah, and they were quick to respond. I was an emotional wreck for sure at the time. Still am to some degree, but it gets better every day. Learn to let go. God said start over, so that's what we're doing.
Just remarkable. And so he was recounting how his wife, in the process of evacuating on this very path, as a matter of fact, she fell and broke her shoulder. Their dog, Sassy, actually took a swim, in his own words. She took a swim in the river that morning on the 4th of July. Happy to report both of them are on the mend, recovering again at that bed and breakfast in Lukenbach, which was donated to them completely free of charge. The Donaghys have not had to pay a penny and have been in that bed and breakfast for the better part of a month now. So just one of the many, many stories of generosity, of outpouring of support, but also just speaks again to the scope and the scale of this, how long it's going to take. And Mr. Donaghy is sitting off to the side here, just trying to keep the ball rolling and make it happen, because again, he has no intentions of leaving here, and he's trying to get this house back to where it was once upon a time before the 4th of July. So we'll continue to follow him throughout that process, and we'll have more coming up here on GMSA at 9. For now, we'll send it back to you guys in the studio.
Thank you very much for that, Ernie. And of course, we are praying for all those folks out there to kind of rebuild some things. And it's going to take a while, but they'll do it with their heart and resiliency for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. They've been on a mission, you know, since everything happened. And a lot of people stepping up who are not even from the Hill Country area. So thank you to everyone who has volunteered their time or also their money as well.
All right, outside with live cam, we've got mostly clear skies here over San Antonio right now. But as I've been saying, we're watching stuff that is blossoming in some cases out to our north and east. So let me show you the authority radar, and you can kind of see where our line is, our outflow boundary. And it is, we'll go ahead and pause this. It is right here. It doesn't want to pause for me. Okay, not working, but you get the idea. There is our line of storms, and it is advancing south. And we've got some stronger storms there around Bastrop and Brenham. Did have some severe weather earlier out there, but nothing at the moment. As this line progresses south, we should see some storms flare up, potentially here around San Antonio. We're going to put in a 30% chance of rain, and I think that could happen as soon as midday, but more so maybe 2 to 4 if we see some redevelopment along that outflow boundary. 99 is what we're shooting for. Now, that could change depending on whether or not we see some rain or some cloud cover here. But again, we're going to keep an eye on those storms, especially for east of San Antonio. Let's watch for the potential of a few strong storms this afternoon, too. We're going to keep tabs on that, and we'll get you updated here in just a few minutes, guys.
Thank you, Justin. Well, this morning, cuts by the Trump administration shut down the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, plus Tesla drama and your weekend box office numbers.
All right, Sabile Marcellus, she was at the NASDAQ market site. She's going to give us a look at this morning's consumer headlines.
The Corporation for Public Broadcasting says it is starting to wind down its operations. This after President Trump rescinded $1.1 billion in funding for public broadcasting. The nonprofit CPP is used to channel federal money to public media stations throughout the U.S. The head of the corporation says eventually some stations, especially in rural areas, may have to shut down without the federal support. A jury in Florida has ordered Tesla to pay about $243 million for a fatal crash involving Autopilot. The 2019 accident involved an Autopilot-equipped Model S. The vehicle went through an intersection at about 62 miles per hour and hit the victim's parked Chevrolet Tahoe as they were standing beside it on a shoulder. The driver of the Tesla had reached down to pick up a cell phone and allegedly received no alerts before hitting the victim's SUV. A woman was thrown 75 feet to her death from the impact, and her companion was seriously injured. The Fantastic Four First Steps held on to the #1 spot at the box office. The superhero feature rang up $40 million in ticket sales over the weekend, but that was a sharp 66% drop from the movie's debut a week ago. The Bad Guys 2 grabbed second place with $22.8 million, and The Naked Gun was third with $17 million in ticket sales.
Okay, that's a check of some of your Money Matters stories, and I've heard some pretty good things about that Naked Gun movie. I like the OG movies.
I do too, but I think
Leslie Nielsen. Now we have
right.
Nielsen.
I'm glad that they cast him though, because you're thinking of a serious crime fighter, and we'll see this here.
Yeah, I've heard good things about it. All right, time now is 9:42. We're looking at 80 degrees, and speaking of being out in the heat, Steph, we had some midnight practice going on. We're going to check in with the Lytle Pirates. You see the moon out there. Also, the Holy Cross Knights representing the 409, the west side of town. And we have got an update from some midnight practices, y'all, coming up.
Welcome back. It's 9:45. Well, it's August 4th and the day high school football teams in Texas have been waiting for. Yeah, today.
Absolutely, yes. Most programs can officially begin practicing today to prepare for this upcoming season. Some teams even hitting the gridiron right at midnight, the stroke of midnight. KSAT 12 sports reporter Mary Rominger got a behind-the-scenes look.
Hey, good morning, guys. It's just after midnight, and we are here in Lytle for the Lytle football team's midnight practice. This is seriously one of the best traditions in high school football, and honestly, maybe even sports. When teams get the green light that they can begin practicing for the upcoming season, Lytle is one of those teams that's wasting no time. As soon as the clock struck midnight, they were out here on the practice field getting ready. The grind of the season officially beginning for the Pirates, and this community does it right. Hundreds of fans in the stands to see their team practice.
It's honestly an awesome feeling. Not a lot of schools in Texas get to do this every year, like 30 years in a row. It's pretty special. It's football season. You always have the energy, right? First practice, the adrenaline, ready to play.
It's actually pretty good to see. We still have people out here supporting at midnight, so I can't wait till what Friday nights are going to be like.
How do you get your players ready for a midnight practice?
Most of them are probably still awake at this time, but I think it's just the anticipation. It's the next step that we're taking. It's waiting on the bus until 12:01 hits. It's the excitement, the energy, the atmosphere that we're trying to create here is special.
We just got to keep it pedal to the metal. We won 5 straight games last year, or we were 5-1, and I just think we got a little bit complacent. Thought we were gonna, smash all these other teams, and we just lost 4 in a row, and it just didn't turn out the way we wanted to. But this year, I think we learned from last year. I think we're gonna have a good season this year.
All right, the energy in Lytle was contagious, but now we are at Holy Cross to see how the 2024 TAPS Division III state runners-up do midnight practice.
I was really excited. It's my senior year. I was excited to see my guys and be ready to get back to work. The music, the people, everything, it was just so good.
It felt great. Just the support of the community and, just the music, everything down to the little details.
To be perfectly honest with you, I think all of us would probably rather laying in bed right now. But truthfully, I love the intensity it brings. I love the excitement it brings. The community really rallies behind it. So it's kind of become a tradition that I think may last for a little while.
Last year we came up short of the goal. So we all have a little bit of fire in us to try to get it back and finish the job this year, especially for our seniors and everybody. Seeing them cry and all that hurts, and that puts something in our hearts, and that makes us want to work harder.
Well, that was a common theme across Lytle and Holy Cross. Last year's disappointments fueling an intense midnight practice to kick things off for the 2025 season. Now, it's 2:30 right now, and you wouldn't know it with the way that these guys are practicing. This has been a ton of fun. Now, sports photographer Mark Mendez and I have 2 more stops for high school football practices in the morning, but for now, we'll send it back to you guys in the studio.
A big thank you to Mary and photographer Mark Mendez.
Yes.
Working all early morning
rolled up
hours.
here. Yeah, they rolled up here at 3:30 this morning, ran into them on the way into the building. I was like, either you guys are up late or really up early, one or the other. They were really up early. They had been working since midnight.
Oh my goodness.
Crazy.
But yeah, putting in the work in early.
Mm-hmm. Are these flamingos putting in the work?
Well, we have a random pigeon that has made his way into the flamingo area.
Just paying a visit there to the friends of flamingos.
Why not?
Zoo cam.
Yeah.
Birds of a feather.
Aww.
Hey. All right, let's look at the authority radar. We've got an outflow boundary. This is that energy that we've been talking about all morning that's been coming out of North Texas. Still moving and trying to get a little closer to where we are. Let's put it into motion here. And you can see the activity has now made its way through Austin. So this is moving quickly. It's going to be here sooner rather than later. We've been saying 1 o'clock. This initial line itself will be here before then. Just based on the current trajectory. Now, what I am more worried about are these heavier storms out to the east. So places like Hallettsville, Gonzales, LaGrange, these are storms you want to watch. And I'm not saying we're going to get a ton of severe weather here. In fact, there are no warnings. But you could get some gusty winds and some brief heavy rain out of this. Further west you go, kind of the weaker this gets. But we are seeing, again, an outflow boundary here, and it will run into some hot, humid air. So we'll see what can be generated. I'm going to leave rain chances at 30% here in San Antonio. And there's a little closer look at some of that activity just north of Fredericksburg and just north of Wimberley this afternoon, or this morning, I should say. Forecast. 20% chance at noon. Maybe we bump that up to 30%, but I'd say kind of midday through early afternoon is when you would need to worry most about seeing a storm or two. And again, we can't rule out a strong storm, although, again, most of that's looking pretty weak right now. 99 is the forecast high. And as we look at the futurecast, this is the latest data coming in. So this noontime shows it's on our doorstep here, and then seeing some of that work through just east of San Antonio. There's a little energy behind that too. We could see that maybe a couple storms hold on to about 4 o'clock, and then this would all push south and get out of here. Again, we showed you the hour by hour forecast here. 20% chance early, and then a 30% chance during the afternoon, and then rain chances falling off this evening. Now let's go out to the tropics, and this is in the Atlantic. You see that system right there. That's got a name now. It's Dexter, moving north of Bermuda and moving away in the cooler waters. This will no longer be an issue here soon as it moves and stays as a tropical storm, mind you. There is another little area here Hurricane Center is watching. We have some time with this one. Nothing there yet. And then another one, this too we have some time to watch. This is a wave coming off of Africa, but eventually as it gets into more conducive environment for development, we could see some development there, something to watch. And then in the Pacific, we have Tropical Depression 8 and another storm system that is showing promise there along the coast of Mexico. So all this to say, the tropics are definitely heating up. And if you look at the names so far, we've gone through Andrea, Barry, Chantal, and Dexter. Next in line would be Aaron, Fernand, and Gabrielle. And it does look like we're going to get some more names. So, you know, August is a month in which we typically see a pretty big buildup, and September 10th is the peak of hurricane season. So we will keep you posted. Nothing that shows any imminent threat to Texas, that's for sure. Okay, so our chance of rain today, and then dry and hot the rest of the week. I think once we get past today, rain chances will be hard to come by, but the triple digits won't. A lot of digits. A lot of digits in that 7-day, more than I would like.
Yeah, maybe a lot of high schools will start practice at midnight. I'm just kidding. From here on out.
Honestly,
I mean, it's not the worst idea.
I don't think the football players would complain.
No. So hot.
Yeah. It is, yeah. All right, let's check in with our friends at SA Live and see what they're up to on this Monday morning. Good morning, Fiona.
You said C, and you're about to see why, because we are celebrating National Oyster Day with Aaron Uvera, chef de cuisine from Southerley Fine Food and Brewery, and you have brought a feast for us on National Oyster Day. Okay, you guys are located where? Right around the corner?
Right around the corner, right inside the Pearl, connected to Hotel Emma.
Okay, and we are celebrating National Oyster Day. What do we got?
So we're celebrating National Oyster Day. We have a selection of Texas oysters. These were all cultivated off the Texas coast. We have Big Tree, Clearwater, Garden Gems, Copano. All of these oysters were in the water less than like 48 hours ago. Woohoo. And they were brought to our door by our farmers. It's fantastic getting a product like this in so fresh. They are like hyper sustainable. They're something that is like net positive all the time. Whenever you put them in, they do nothing but bring goodness back to the ocean that they're in. They bring back biodiversity, bring back more oyster reefs and whatnot. It's a really fantastic thing, oysters. So, and it's great that now Texas has its own farmed oysters so that we can
all good
enjoy.
Things. Yes. Okay. And you guys have a summer special, right?
Yeah. So we have a summer special. We took Big Tree oysters specifically, and we brewed a beer with it. What's different about our beer versus other beers is that we use the entire oyster, the shell, the meats, the liquor, everything to make this nice, light, salty gosé. It's a low ABV, great to drink outside when it's nice and hot, just like today. And yeah, it's fantastic, you know.
And real quickly before we go, because we're running out of time, you partner with Sink Your Shucks, right?
Yeah, so Sink Your Shucks is a program that takes shells and returns them back to the reef, and it's sort of a full circle thing for us to get oysters from the Gulf and then take the shells back and restore reef.
All right, and Southerley Fine Food and Brewery won a Michelin Bib Gourmand, right?
Yes, we did.
Back in 2024?
Yes, ma'am.
Ooh, yes. All right. All right, we're going to have more SA Live just minutes away, folks.
All right, I'm Ernie Zuniga back here live in Kerrville just with an idea of some of the things that are happening here today. Right now, as a matter of fact, Kerr County Commissioners Court, they're hosting a meeting discussing property tax rates for Kerr County and taking a look at proposed salary increases for officials in the county. We are streaming that, by the way, on KSAT.com. Later, the Community Foundation of the Texas Hill Country will hold a virtual press conference at 11:30. We're going to hear more about the Kerr County Flood Relief Initiative, that $1 million that was distributed, including to some of the small business owners that we talked to earlier this morning in Center Point. So we've got crews all over. We'll continue to bring you coverage on air and online throughout the day right here on KSAT.com. Back to you.
Ernie, thank you. Let's go over to Authority Radar. We're still watching this line of storms, the heaviest of it being between here and Houston, and that's going to affect places like Hallettsville here within the next couple of hours, and perhaps Gonzales. Further west, the line's a little less intense as it moves south towards San Antonio. We'll see if we can get some